All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Three Guys Walk into Culinary School, podcast about Brian, Tim's, and my journey through culinary school and all the conversations we have about food and everything that we see online and on TV and in magazines and what's trending now. Guys, big news, obviously. We have some, I think the expression is flowers to give people some flowers today. Or, where I grew up listening to Hot 97 every day in high school, it was big ups or shout outs. But Brian, you want to share some big news?
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out a young lady. Let me just pull up her info here. Chef Adasia Wood. She's a friend of mine's goddaughter, Brandon and Alicia's goddaughter out in Long Island, and she just graduated from ICE this week. So
That's
I want to
awesome.
send a big shout out to Adasia.
Congratulations, Chef.
Yep, yep,
Congrats,
yep.
Chef.
My
And
home.
she's gonna be doing a 6-month program at Disney, so that's exciting.
That's
So
exciting.
I can't wait to talk to her and hear about her experience and everything.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. You give her some guidance, obviously, with all the experience you've had these last few years, and that Disney program must be very exciting. It's from what I hear stories that just being a character there is very demanding, and
Yeah.
very strict. So I can imagine because their culinary program makes some magical stuff. No pun intended, but like they do some crazy good stuff. So congrats to her and good luck
Yeah.
to her. We wish her all the best. And graduation was I think this week, right, at school. So
Yeah, I think it was a couple days ago.
Yeah. So there's 100 kids, hundreds of kids out there, or adults now, who have the training and the technique down and the confidence really to get in the kitchen and start kicking ass and go there and make a difference. And sooner or later we're gonna be bigging up other people who are doing great things. We have ICE alum like Gail Simmons. She's a judge, on Top Chef, Food and Wine magazine writer. Missy Robbins doing some great stuff in Brooklyn. Adrian pronounce her name, Brian.
Cheatham.
Thank you, Adrian Cheatham, doing great things. Friend of Brian's. But yeah, they're all doing great things, and we have another person add that list of ICE alum doing really cool things. Gabby Chappell won the Next Level Chef Season 3 competition, which is, big ups to her. Congratulations to her. It's really exciting to see, because I think she was showcased on ICE's Instagram once. Like they put a little video together about her and who she is and all that. And I'm like, all right, give her a follow. And then to see her grow and now do this is pretty amazing. So congrats to her again. And we'll have her on the show, I'm sure at some point. And it's just exciting to see, man. It's so exciting to see. And happy to see, all these kids where we were 5, 6, 7 years ago, working hard, graduating, and like doing our thing and doing what we love. That's really cool. I'm just thinking about it. Like, just you become this rising star out of nowhere just from being an influencer online. Really cool stuff. Real quick, I just want to say that we were discussing a few episodes ago our favorite social media, our favorite food content, the people we follow, and we were shouting out a lot of celebrity chefs and all that, but we kind of left out one guy because I think we were so focused on what we're watching now and kind of forgot the greats. And one guy we have to definitely shout out is Anthony Bourdain, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
I mean, he's a legend. His show's fantastic. His restaurant's great. I've been to it a couple of times, at least La Halle with my sister, the steakhouse, which was really great. But he, for me, took food out of the kitchen, right? Other people were doing it, but he made it sociological. He made it anthropological. He made it psychological. He instilled DNA in food. He drew that out. So for me, he made that something that's just it's not just a plate of food, right? It's a story,
Absolutely.
and that's where it came from. Absolutely. His shows, and he's an amazing guy with great quotes, quite the wordsmith, and one of the greats obviously missed, but we can't mention food content without him because he made it.
I think
he transcended.
I think he has absolutely one of my favorite quotes, but I'm not going to try to quote it because I think I'll butcher it. But it's the one where, order the cream sauce, go to a bar at 4:00 and have a drink, and kind of just live life. It's one of the greatest quotes. I remembered it.
Absolutely.
Maybe edit you can edit, but
we'll put it in the end. We'll put it in the bottom of the
yeah,
captions.
because I'd hate to butcher it.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
I
one
think
of my
as
favorite.
far as like every men go, is that a term? Every man. He's an everyman, I guess. You know, he's kind of like, you can't really. I'm sure people could say a bad word about him, just because everyone has their moments they get angry. But I think just as a personality and as someone who kind of like grew throughout, through in the public eye, like on TV and being a celebrity, like he was just really, I think, a wise dude, and he like imparted a lot of that wisdom through food and talking about being a chef and, you know, working with some of the unsung heroes of, you know, the world and in kitchens and in dish pits and all kinds of stuff. So I think he was just like a real everyman that you'd be hard pressed to not appreciate something that he did.
No, absolutely, man. And like you said, wisdom for sure, because I think one of my favorite quotes is, and I'm going to butcher it too, Tim, so I won't leave you hanging. It is, you don't have to agree with a person to like them or to respect them, you know? And I feel like that's so important nowadays in the, I guess, the climate that America is specifically, and I don't want to get too far into things, but like, a little more respect, you know, a little more, you know, just peeling down that layer and not seeing what's right in front of you and understanding where that person's coming from. I think we could all use a little bit of that in this world. But yeah, R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain, one of the best to do it. Author, chef, TV host, food personality, amazing guy. Absolutely. You know, and I'm going to get into this episode. I will say it was kind of driven by the Google Doodle today. I don't know if you guys saw it. You guys Googled that work today at all? But it wasn't a holiday specifically, but it was like Chilequiles Appreciation Day. You guys know what Chilequiles is?
Yeah.
No. Okay, yeah. Tim, I'm going to blow your mind. It's basically, and I don't want to talk shit about Chilequiles. I feel like this isn't doing it any favors here, but it's basically breakfast nachos, right? It's almost like breakfast nachos, how a gringo like myself would kind of state it. They are, you fry up your corn tortillas, you warm up a nice, I prefer salsa verde, you can do a rojo if you prefer, warm it up in a pan, toss in your fried chips, let them soak for a little bit, you know, keep tossing it, plate it, you can put some fried eggs on top, some sliced thin red onion, radishes, green onion, cilantro, jalapeno, serrano peppers, whatever you want on there, avocado, and it's just like this beautiful, warm dish, and it's so good. And I'm going to say it's one of my favorite breakfast foods, I think, and I've only had it like twice, so it's not like I'm an expert, but it's like it's so fucking good. It's so good.
Delicious. And I'll say, Jimmy, you called it beautiful. Maybe you've had it look beautiful where you are, but I've never had it look good. It's just delicious though. Like it's always a kind of an ugly mess on a plate, but it just tastes awesome.
I hear you. I've had a Cosme once, and Cosme's, you know, a little bit more,
of course,
you know, whatever. Yeah. So the one time, the first time I had it was at Cosme, and then I had it again, and I think it was like out in San Fran or something for breakfast, but it was so good. It's such a good thing, and it's so easy to make. You know, like you don't even fry your own tortillas. I think you'd benefit if you did, but you know, that's the funny thing about breakfast is like sometimes I'll kind of go for like something easier in the morning on weekends, you know, when I have time to cook. As opposed to something I really want to do, like a chilequile, because I know the whole family will like it, but like I have certain go-tos, and I kind of wish chilequile was one, and I might have to make it not so often because, you know, I can't be eating chips 4 times a day. So the 3-time maximum is pretty good, right? Yeah. So I was thinking like my favorite like breakfasts, like do you guys cook breakfast a lot? Do you guys take out guys? Or are you guys kind of like?
So I prefer to cook breakfast at home. I actually cooked breakfast for dinner. Tonight I made French toast.
It's so versatile, right? It's such a versatile meal. You can have it any meal.
Yeah. Oh,
you really can. Yeah.
But there is something every now and then about going out to breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels different than like a dinner or a lunch. I don't know. Maybe it's a nice way to start the day. Maybe it's that you're starting the day out kind of treating yourself. I don't know what it is, but like every couple of months there's something about going out to breakfast. Or like, you know, or when you're away, like you've part of being away is going out to breakfast.
Absolutely.
I might skip breakfast for 4 days, but when I'm on vacation, I'm eating breakfast every day.
Every day, you're making it a thing. You got to schedule it, you got to plan it. For sure. Yeah, it's a little treat, right? You're going out for breakfast every once in a while. I know my personal breakfast spot growing up, or living in Brooklyn. No, I grew up in Brooklyn. I was born there. Just so people know, I'm a real New Yorker, even though I moved out. I moved away. It's too expensive, man. The rent's too damn high. People are right.
They still saying that. They were saying that when I lived, didn't they?
Yeah, they're still saying it. It's worse now than it was. Oh God, ever. So, one of my favorite spots to go out and treat the family is there's this cafe. It's called Cafe Le Luc on Smith Street in Brooklyn. Little hole in the wall, easy to miss, but it is pumping. Like if you're not there by 8:00, you're waiting 45 to an hour for a table. Really popular. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Waiting for breakfast is the worst, though.
Waiting for breakfast is the worst. We'll get into. Let's talk about that too. Remind me about that. But they make this great pancakes, which I don't really make pancakes at home, right? But like they make my favorite pancake where it's like half an inch thick. You only get two, super airy, super light, and the bottom half of them are just crunchy. Like I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like I don't know. It's almost been like fried, almost been like deep fried. It's got like this little crust to it. It's so buttery, so delicious. I Google every few months. I Google, knockoff Cafe Le Luc pancake recipe to see how they make it. If someone's ever leaked it, I've considered working there, like just to find out how they do it and then quitting. But that's like one of my favorite to go places. But I never really make it at home. I never really make it at home.
Good pancakes, man, are just like it's nothing better than good.
Do you make pancakes at home, Brian? Are you a pancake
Every
guy?
now and then I do, but I just pancakes are like literally my favorite food.
Oh, really?
I could probably eat pancakes a couple times a day if I wanted to. But
that's
it's just
so
like,
funny.
Yeah, there was a place in Chicago growing up. We would go to the Pancake House. That was like classic. And when I make pancakes, I like you, Jimmy. I Google the Pancake House recipe and try and recreate it if I can. But I think the thing about Pancake House pancakes is they had this whipped butter that was and they throw it in a little ramekin, and it's just like, the little scoop. Like, what do they do to make this butter so good?
Talk slower. Tell me more about that with butter. That sounds amazing.
Whenever I make pancakes, one of the first things I try to remember to do is to take the butter and the syrup out of the fridge. Because there's nothing worse than when you bring the pancakes to the table and then you bring out the cold syrup and the cold butter.
A brick of butter, right? You're sitting there and you're tearing the pancakes up, trying to spread some butter on it.
Exactly, it's terrible.
It's the worst. Right, Tim, sorry, you got a flat top, right? You ever use that bad boy for pancakes or
it's
breakfast
great,
in general?
I can bust out a whole family's worth of pancakes in
that's
15 minutes with that thing.
You throw your bacon on that, and you're good to go.
Yeah, bacon on one side, pancakes on the other.
That's awesome.
10-15 minutes, great. Yeah. And there's something about cooking breakfast outside, like it almost feels naughty. I don't know. I like it
because you're probably in your like robe and your boxers, drinking a cup of coffee, flipping pancakes, while the hens in the chicken coop are sitting there clucking at you.
There's nothing better than taking a fresh egg out of the coop and cracking it on the flat top.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's awesome. No grocery store runs. You'll never run out of eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that farm. We got to do a tour of your farm one episode.
Absolutely.
That would be really cool, actually.
I always say everybody's welcome. It's everybody else's farm. It's not mine.
He does always say that. He's the man. He's super generous, opening his house to everyone who's listening here. So we'll have his address in the podcast notes at the end of the episode, so you guys can just stop by whenever you want.
Pick up some eggs.
I think pancakes for me go into like the category of like salads and like sandwiches, where it's always better when someone else makes it. Have you heard that expression?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So for me, I feel like they're good. They're never as fluffy as I want. They're they never as consistent. They don't look as consistent when it comes to like the browning and the coloring and all that. So that always gets on my nerves. I think my favorite thing to cook for breakfast is like grits for like a group. Not just like my wife loves it, so we do that maybe once or twice a month on weekends. But like if you have a group there, you can kind of do a bunch of it. Cheesy grits. You can crumble some cheese into it. You could crumble some bacon into it. Excuse me. You can put leftover shrimp. We did that last summer in North Carolina. We had some leftover shrimp from like a boil we ordered takeout from, and we just threw that in there the next morning. So super versatile. You can put anything there: meat, veggies, whatever you want. One of my favorite breakfast go-tos. Something I like to make, even though that's probably more time consuming than chilaquiles, I would think, because you got to be on the grits and stirring it all the time and paying attention to it.
Yeah, you got to stir them constantly.
You got to keep your your stir going.
No, I have a breakfast question.
Please.
So, on the rare occasion that you have leftovers at breakfast, if you're eating out, do you bring them home?
Ooh.
I feel like breakfast foods don't reheat very well, so I tend to just leave them behind.
Damn, that's a great question.
Yeah, that is a really good question.
I will bring home
really
the pancakes for the kids because they don't care and they don't know any better.
Yeah,
Me,
it's got to be like
I leave it
really, really good, like something that is like I don't know, like a brioche bread pudding or something crazy that
see, that sounds like it reheats well too, though. That sounds good.
Yeah.
I think home fries might be the only exception because
you can spruce them up, right?
You can pan.
Reheat them. You can add to them. Stretch them out a little bit. Add some more stuff. That sounds great. Yeah, I think I'm going to say we probably leave breakfast behind for the most part, right? I've never taken anything home. Dang, we just had brunch last weekend too.
Where'd you go? What'd you have?
So we did some place called Toast, local to me. It's kind of a chain. It's
I've heard of
it. Yeah, it's in a few states. Good food. Nice. Going back to your wait comment, Jim. We show up. Their website says no wait. They're like, all right, 15 minutes. 15 minutes is like 35 minutes. And then we waited like 45 minutes for my son's eggs to come in. He's freaking out. It's just like, yo, you see a kid, just make their food first. Feed the kid. Let him do his thing. But, food was good. It was slow. Super busy. Good for them. I can't complain, restaurants and restaurant owners have gone through so much shit. So, people are busy. Let them be busy. Good for them. I'll time my breakfast better. But we did that. We did a bunch of different things. We did pancakes, eggs, kind of just split things up. Try a little bit of everything. That's my thing, man. If I could go to any restaurant I would order for 6, I think, if it was just me and my wife. Because you never know if you're going back, and especially with a kid, like you don't have that much free time, like a toddler, like a young kid. We went to. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I feel like breakfast is very easy to add on to. It's like, and I'll throw in some toast. I'll take a cinnamon roll.
That's exactly what I did. We ordered all our meals. It was like 3 entrees for the 3 of us. Well, two and a half, because I wanted to try everything. And then she's like, anything else? And I'm like, giving her, shaking as I'm giving the menu away. And I flip it over and I'm like, oh, cinnamon rolls, breakfast starters. What the hell's that? Like breakfast starters, bro. Come on. We're having courses now for breakfast? Like, what the hell?
Wife and I always like to split a toasted muffin with butter.
We're going to have a
breakfast.
That's nice. That's nice.
The perfect
that's a nice way to open up the appetite. Yeah, with the coffee too. You get that real quick.
Yeah.
Start the meal off with that. I like that. Soon they're going to have breakfast tasting menus, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be $300 a person for eggs, hash browns, and bacon.
I haven't been to breakfast in a minute. I'm thinking about.
Now thinking about, you got to do what Tim did. Breakfast for dinner, man. Breakfast for dinner. Speaking of bacon, real quick, how do you guys cook? What's your technique for that?
Always in the oven.
If it's a group, if I have a group over, if I have people over, it goes in the oven. Or if I have the time, like tonight I had the time, so I did in the oven. But if I don't have the time, it's going in the pan.
Yeah, I hear you. You think pan's faster, huh? Yeah, I guess it is. Crank up the heat.
Pan is faster, but I think the oven is superior.
Yeah, for sure. Do you guys flatten it out with anything? Because I'm watching shows, obviously, and people want to keep it flat, presentable. Put another sheet pan on top of it, anything like that. That's just too messy for me.
No.
It's too much cleanup.
Especially on the pan, it comes out way more flat.
For sure.
On the sheet pan than on the frying pan.
For sure.
I'll do a wire rack if I really care.
So like on top of it, or you have the bacon on the wire rack?
Yeah, the bacon on the
wire rack.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I care, but a lot of times it's just like
I think I've done that once in my
parchment or foil and bacon on the pan.
Yeah, that's usually my way.
I don't know why this is, and I've tried to figure this out, and I've tried Googling it, and I've never been able to come up with an answer. But when I do bacon on the flat top outside, there's almost zero shrinkage to the bacon.
That's funny, and it's cold outside too. You think it would shrink a little bit,
and I don't. and I don't know why that is.
That's funny. That's interesting. I noticed that. I've only made. I'm a really bad flat top owner because I have one too, Brian, and I've used it once. First time I used it was for breakfast, and then I made a couple of fajita nights, and I just never took care of it and rusted over, and I still haven't cleaned it up. I have all the kits, and I'm going to clean it up this weekend after I sharpen my knives and do everything else I said I'm going to fucking do, which never happens. Let me just take a sip of water.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But techniques is a funny thing, right? Because everyone kind of does everything differently, and people are always looking for the right way to do things. And you find a lot of friends and family, especially during right after culinary school, even now, asking like, "Yo, Bri, how do you prefer to cook this? What's your technique in this? How do you do that? Like, how do you approach those questions?"
Honestly, man, I really hate those questions. If I'm being honest, it's like, you can Google things too. It's like, and there's not one correct way to do it. I have my friends always hit me up like, I got I don't know. Actually, I got a text about a week ago. My friend was asking me about lamb chops or something that he had. He's like, I got some lamb chops in the fridge, and I want to do like, what do I do with them? It's like, you didn't think about what to do with them before you bought them. Now I gotta think about recipes for you, and gotta ask you, what kind of seasonings you have, and
what's your pantry look like? Let me curate a menu for you real quick. Can you do you have some pistachios to crust that bad boy or no? Like, like what the hell, man?
Yeah,
and it's also preference.
Sumac? Yeah, it's like,
I promise you, I don't have sumac in my house. How about you, Tim? You hate those questions? Like, you're not a fan?
Yeah, I try to stay away from like giving people recipes.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather talk to people about technique
than
recipes, so I'll give them a tip on technique. But also, if I'm and I'm sure you guys have run into this too, you're at someone's house for a party or whatever, and they're cooking, and right away it was like, "Oh, well, you went to culinary school. Can you help me out?"
Of course.
And I always try to kind of step back and let the host, whoever it is, just do their thing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of one of the crazy things about food that I often think about is like, you could go and trying to think. So if you go to Lydia Bestich's restaurant, she's going to make, let's say, the best bolognese you ever had. And, she's the celebrity chef and all those things. But I guarantee you there's probably some little old lady in Staten Island that makes a bolognese that blows that out of the water.
For sure.
Everything else she makes might suck, but she can make that one thing amazing. And I feel like that's just kind of what, that's food, like
exactly.
There's some people who, we probably all have that one relative, like my grandfather, he could make amazing pancakes. Couldn't make anything else. But could make amazing pancakes, probably better than I make them.
That's so funny. That's true.
So I try to really not get involved in those kinds of conversations with people.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of the definitely not recipes. Like, people, what I do with this. Like, what do you like? Like, what I like might not be what you like. Like, it's whatever you like, and try it out. You'll figure it out. And like, oh, hey, how do you keep your Thanksgiving turkey from drying out? Don't overcook it. Like, it's fucking simple. Like, like, keep an eye on it, put a thermometer in there, and figure it out. Like, don't, there's a million ways to figure things out. You can, like you said, Google it and figure that out. But a lot of it's, preference and opinion, and like what I might like might not be what you like. So don't ask questions. Then, like, I started a new job recently, and I get like obscure questions from like, oh, you went to culinary school. What is an alternative to marshmallows if I want sugar-free sticky substance to make Rice Krispie treats? I want to make Rice Krispies without marshmallows. That's it. I should turn around and just been like, nothing. Yeah, no.
Nothing.
Right,
no, I can't do that.
Make something else.
Make some what?
Just make something else. Don't even entertain that.
Stand up from my desk and find a new job. Is that what you're telling me? No. It's a very like obscure question, like a very food sciencey question. So of course I like Googled some things, and I'm just like, can't figure it out. But like, I'm not Alden Brown. I'm not. I don't have a master's degree in food science.
Like, we don't have the encyclopedic knowledge of everything. Like, and I like the way you put it, Tim. It's like, it's personal, man. Like, what do you like? What do you have? What do you have access to? Like,
100%.
People expect there to be like a right and a wrong way for everything. And it's like, I don't know.
And when they do ask, I try to just give one thing, because I also never want to overwhelm anyone and come off like I don't know, pretentious maybe.
Yeah.
I like coming up pretentious sometimes.
Sometimes it's fun.
Actually, that shows the most for me when I'm at a friend's house who's cooking or barbecuing, and like, if they don't ask for help, I'm not gonna sit there and like, backseat cook for them and like tell them you got to do this, do that, do that. But I'll walk over, I'll look at things, I'll silently just kind of judge them and like, oh, okay, you're doing that, that's cool. That's not gonna taste good, because I'm an asshole sometimes.
But you also run the risk of, like, if you tell somebody something and they try it, they don't like it. It's like, oh, You gave me that recipe and that sucked.
Oh, Chef Brian gave me that recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it
You
tastes
told
like
me how
shit.
how to cook some raw lamb chops. It's like,
That's great.
The only one I will tell everybody when I see it is only flip that burger once.
Nah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's my.
That's all it needs. That's
that
all.
is a good one.
Patience,
Yeah.
patience. Yeah, for sure. And and I get that a lot too from my boys. Like you said, like if I'm grilling and the friends are over, it's always like, oh, big time chef, what are you making now? And then like something might come under seasoned or over seasoned, and be like, aren't you a chef? Don't you know what you're doing? My best friend, notorious for fucking busting my chops when I'm cooking, always making these comments, but he eats all the food, so I don't care. Yeah, man, that's
They
funny.
always do.
They always do, exactly.
I'm also the worst when it comes to myself. If I'm cooking for a group of people,
oh yeah,
I always want people to tell me something that they think is wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is, but I feel like if you're just being like, "Oh, this is awesome. This is the best thing I ever ate," I feel like you're full of shit. I'm like, "No, tell me something wrong with it."
It's not perfect.
Yeah, nothing's perfect.
And 9 times out of 10, I probably did something to this meal that I didn't do the last time, just because I wanted to see how it would turn out, right? So tell me if that shit didn't work or not.
Exactly. I have a bad habit of I'm always negative about like my cooking and like presenting my food, because I think when I cook for family and friends and all that, I'm so exhausted afterwards because I put so much pressure on myself, so much time into like prepping, grocery shopping, putting everything together, to the point where I'm just like, oh, I'm so exhausted. This probably is going to be good. So I'll always start off with like, oh, okay, this is pork stuffed whatever, and I'll be like, well, I didn't do this and this, so it's not going to taste good, and I should have done that instead of doing this, and like before they even try, and then most of the time they eat it and they enjoy it, but like I'm always so negative. I did that during our practicals in school, where I deliver the food. It was just me and the chef 101, and I'd be like, well, I could have done that, but I didn't have that, and I did this because this ingredient was available, but I forgot to use it and all that stuff, and they're like, but it came out fine, and like I remember once I instead of making a beurre blanc, we didn't have white wine, or we didn't have, I think we only had like one white or clear acid, and I used a red wine and a white wine, and I'm like, oh, I made a beurre rouge because it was like steak, and he goes, oh no, a beurre rosé, excuse me, and he goes, oh no, that's a thing, like you made something, you don't know about it, it's an actual thing, it's a beurre rouge, it's a red beurre blanc, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So I'm sitting here complaining I messed up, and apparently I just did something the right way. If I kept my mouth shut, I probably had a few more points on my final score.
I also too, when I finally serve everybody and sit down at the table, I hardly eat anything, and people are like, "Why aren't you eating?" And I'm always like, "Because I've been eating for the last 2 hours while I was cooking." People never seem to realize
that. Tim.
What's that?
I think we might have lost you for a second.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you turned into a transformer for a second.
Little R2D2 action.
Yeah.
Hold on, let's see if we get Tim back.
Hello.
And then to Tim's point, I know exactly what he means, because usually when I'm done cooking, like, to the point where, like I said, I'm exhausted or stressed out or like just beat up from it, I too just like have a bite or two, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm good. Like I don't want to eat. You guys enjoy it, I'm just a help. I'm just.
I do like
I've been staring at this food for the last 2 hours.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, exactly.
I do like the classic chef move, right? Like, you played everything beautifully and presented to folks, and I just kind of throw everything on a plate and stand over the sink and eat it while everyone is enjoying it at the table.
Funny. That's right. Yeah, you guys enjoy it. I'm here.
Put water in your quart container and move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, those culinary hacks, dude. Those culinary hacks. I been into a lot more social media with the cooking, following a lot more people, seeing things that are cool, and then seeing things that are very annoying, like the ASMR, audio, whatever, sensory stuff. Again, I mentioned it before. I'm a fan of it. Love hearing the knife scraping on the crusty, bread or seared piece of meat or whatever. Love the chopping. You don't mind it. Love the fast motion videos. One trend I really hate, and I don't know if you guys have been filling your free time up with social media, is this little stupid hack where, not hack, but like they have like an onion on a knife. If you've seen this on a chef knife, and they flip it up, and then they catch it on the blade, right? Like it's cool. So it's like barely on the blade, and then they turn around and smack it down and look at the camera like it's the coolest thing in the world. Now, it's been like mostly like 21 to 25-year-old girls who do it. So, but no disrespect to them, obviously. B, half of that shit always ends up on the floor. So I don't know why you're doing that. I don't think it's cool as like someone who understands like, hey, that big ass onion probably costs you $1.75. B, that's wasteful. C, like, are you just gonna throw that out? Like, what's going on here? So that stuff pisses me off, and everyone's doing it now. It feels like everyone's doing it now. From where 3-4 weeks ago, it was one person doing it. Now it's like every other chef or influencer I see online is doing it. I don't know if you guys caught that online, but it's just so frustrating. I'll send you a couple of examples.
Yeah, I haven't
I don't know why it bothers me so much. It's like something in the kitchen that ticks me off. And is there like a food trend that you guys see or anything like online that you're like, don't do that. That's not cool. That's not fun. And you know what? I'll include chewing. I hate hearing people chew. I hate it. Mukbang, is that a thing?
Yeah.
You've heard of it, right? Is that just where people
eat?
It's
kind of gross, yeah.
It's kind of gross, right? People just eat excessively. Have you seen like the one where people are eating like clams that have like a penis-looking thing coming out of it?
That's gross.
That one. See, my algorithm is fucked up.
I don't know what you're watching.
I'm letting y'all know too much about my algorithm right now. Oh, damn. Okay, I'll send you guys some of those too, but don't watch them around your wives. No, it's like a clam. It's like I don't know if it's a sea cucumber. What? It's like a clam, and it's got like a penis-shaped thing, and they just bite into it, and the thing just squirts seawater across the room. It's mad weird. I'm gonna stop talking. This is not gonna make the podcast because my algorithm's embarrassing. Thank God my wife's 2 floors above us because it's just weird. Yeah, she's gonna be like, I heard something about a penis clam. Sorry, babe. Yeah, I don't know. Man, that was fun. Yeah, man, breakfast is important. Technique's important. Breakfast technique, actually, not much, you know. There's not too much to it now that I think about it. Not much anything else. I guess, you know, maybe your crepes and your French omelets, but I haven't made a French omelet since culinary school.
Yeah, and those never taste as good as the old American diner.
It's so true, man. It's so true. You know, load it up with some mix-ins.
Canadian bacon.
The one thing I wasn't doing before culinary school that I learned while we were there was covering the French toast while you cook it so that the bread puffs up, and that's been a game changer for me ever since.
So in the pan.
In the pan, yeah.
So in the pan, you put a cover on it. It steams up a little.
Yeah.
The egg kind of expands in there.
The bread kind of expands.
Yeah, with the egg batter and all that, kind of cooks through and expands. That's interesting. Do you finish your French toast in the oven? Is that like a normal thing?
No,
you don't.
I go right from the pan.
Because like the few times I made French toast growing up, again, not knowing what it was, not knowing because Greek immigrant parents didn't really know how to cook it, we literally just dipped toast in egg. Like literally just scrambled eggs, dipped white Wonder Bread in it, not toast, excuse me, Wonder Bread, and fried it. And then we finished it with like, and when we were eating, we had maple syrup. It was kind of gross now that I think back because there was no cream, there was no sugar, there was no vanilla, there was nothing sweet there. It was just egg-soaked bread. God, that's weird. Yeah, that's really weird now that I think about it. But we never had to finish it in the oven because, you know, the pieces were so thin on the Wonder Bread. But yeah, no, I was thinking how you guys make your French toast now because
the Wonder Bread French toast. It's not a fun one. I remember that too. My mom, she would put the milk and the egg together with a little bit of little cinnamon, but it was still like if it's not the right bread, it's kind of like what are you doing? You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Why just eat some toast? Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Oh my gosh. All right, Tim, what do you got for us today? Please tell me you got a good one.
All right.
Oh, you do have one.
Why did the banana go to the doctor?
Why did the banana go to the doctor?
He wasn't peeling well.
Oh man, I don't know if it's because I have a kid, but these are fucking great. These are fantastic jokes,
I don't know if it's because I got a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but I love that.
Yeah, walk in, tell him you ain't peeling well.
Yeah.
Doc, I ain't peeling well. That's funny, man. Guys, everyone listening, please subscribe, like, follow to the podcast anywhere you find us. Like, comment, do whatever you want. We'll have
hate mail.
Yeah, we'll have an email set up so you guys can kind of reach out and ask questions or give us comments or topics you want to hear about, what we learned in school, what we do in our personal life, what we think about restaurants and food trends. We're here to bullshit.
Jimmy will send you clam videos.
I'll send you some weird clam videos. Follow me on Instagram. We'll put that on the bottom of the thing when I create a nice professional Instagram that's going to have all clam videos. Mukbang's gross. It's just all chewing like... I hate that shit. It's disgusting. Follow us, like us, comment, leave whatever you want, reviews.
Send us mukbangs.
So don't send me mukbangs. Send them all to Tim. His address is down there. Remember, at the farm. We'll have a reunion at the farm. But catch us next time, guys. Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Peace.